Good evening, everyone. You are in the spotlight with Brian Gardner for this Thursday, December the 15th, 2016. Good to have you all here for our second of three shows this week. Apologies for the late start tonight. If you for those that do not live on the East Coast or in Central New York for that matter, we are going through some pretty nasty conditions. It's been a day of hard driving and wind and snow and cold and the wind is the issue here tonight for us. I had every time there's high winds and not just windy but high winds. I worry about that's one of the drawbacks of doing streaming. Um, I worry, and I was right to worry. We had some issues tonight. That's why we're on the air so late. I thought 9:45 was going to give us enough time. It did not. It took a little longer than expected, so I had to work through some things with tech support, which is great. Thank you to tech support for all their help tonight. It was a struggle, but we got through it. And so we should be good to go. You'll notice there isn't as much of a lag like there usually is during windy conditions, so we were able to work some kinks out. So that should help here tonight. Now, thankfully, if we're going to delay a show, I'm glad it was this one because it's a wrestling show. And we don't have a lot to get through because, when you have these brand exclusive pay-per-views, you don't have big cards and it kind of moves along quickly. So we don't have a lot to get to. So this won't be the longest show. And wrestling shows aren't usually long shows anyway. So if you're going to delay a show, I'm glad it was something along these lines here tonight. So as always, to start off the show, if you'd like to interact with our show and have your voice heard, you can email us at itspotlight411@gmail.com. You can also follow us and tweet us at itspotlight411. Please remember to use the hashtag itspotlight411 for anything you tweet regarding our show. You can also find us on Facebook. Just look for In the Spotlight 411 on Facebook and make sure that you like our fan page upon finding it. Okay, so again, we're on the air late due to technical problems. Again, our apologies for that here tonight. Now, really quickly, because I don't want to waste too much time here. Tomorrow, of course, we'll have the In the Spotlight Football Blitz that is currently scheduled for 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. Again, that time can move back a little bit. You all know how this works, but currently scheduled for 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. We'll go look back at last week in NFL, look ahead to this week, talk about tonight's Thursday Night Football game, and talk about the Heisman and other issues related to college football. That will be our show for our football show for tomorrow. Again, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time for that particular show. Now, next week, as I mentioned earlier this week, I was unsure about the scheduling of next week. Now I can give you all some details. We will have a show next week on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. So not Wednesday night, Wednesday during the day. That Wednesday during the day show will be our In the Spotlight Football Blitz. We will not do a football blitz next Friday. We'll be moving it up to Wednesday. So our only primetime show next week will be on Tuesday of next week, again at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time as usual. And then, of course, our In the Spotlight Football Blitz will be scheduled for 2:30 p.m. Eastern, but again, it can always start later. And that will be on Wednesday of next week, not Friday. So we'll have our only primetime show next week on Tuesday, which will be a sports, entertainment, wrestling mixture, box office beat. We'll talk about the aftermath of RoadBlock, all that, any other sports headlines outside of football. We'll do all that on Tuesday. And on Wednesday, the In the Spotlight Football Blitz for next week will take place at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, that could start a little later than that, but that's the current schedule. And again, that will be our schedule for next week. The week after, we will do a similar thing, only we will flip the script a little bit, and we will do our only show of that week on Thursday, and that will be a 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern start. And we'll do the same thing as we're going to do next Tuesday: sports, entertainment, wrestling. And then we'll bring the In the Spotlight Football Blitz back to Friday that week, and do that at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time on that Friday, and that will be our last show of 2016. So we're going to do something. It's a little different. Usually we just stick to the same day, but I thought it would kind of break up the gaps in time a little bit if we did it that way. So the holiday schedule is as follows: Tuesday, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time; Wednesday, In the Spotlight Football Blitz, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time; and the week after, for New Year's week, we'll have our only primetime show on Thursday at 9 o'clock from Eastern Time, and then Football Blitz on Friday of that week. And I'll remind you all of this next week for the following week. But, this more for next week because obviously that's more closer to now anyway. So just wanted to let you all know of that schedule. And then once the new year starts, we'll be back on track, back in form, and we'll start the process for the In the Spotlight Film Awards and all that good stuff. So just want to give you all a little heads up about all of that. Now, tonight is an all-wrestling show previewing WWE's RoadBlock and the Line pay-per-view. So if you haven't submitted a question or comment, we won't be doing a lot tonight, but if you haven't submitted one, you can still do so during the show. Obviously, we already have picked several from before the show that were sent in before the show, but obviously we always like to pick some ones that come in during the show too. So if you'd like to submit some questions or comments, you may do so during the show here tonight. So make sure you do that if you feel so inclined. All right, so with all that being said, I don't know if my co-host is on or if he's having us did to what he did on Tuesday where he couldn't. He was on, but he couldn't say anything. So, Mike, are you there? He may be. He may not. I know he's here, but. Yeah, okay. It looks like he's having some problems. Which happens, that's kind of the setup. All right, so really quickly because, well, hang on just a second here. I'm gonna see if maybe I can help him out a little. All right. All right. It doesn't look like I'm gonna be able to help him out. So I don't know. He's gonna have to resolve the issue on his end because I don't know if it's what's going on there. So, again, this is sometimes what happens, folks. You have when you're streaming, you get these issues. So, my apologies. All right. So let's see. Just trying to post. Yep. Okay. He got off. So. All right, so clearly he knows that the issue's on his end. Okay, so we're gonna get going now. Now this is when it gets difficult because when you do a show like this, certain things I like to talk about with him on the air, and everything that we're doing tonight, I like to talk about with him on the air. So, I'm trying to stall a little bit to get up. I think he's popped up. So let's see if he is able to. Like, can you hear us? Okay, he is still having trouble. So, all right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get going. Because again, we are on the air late tonight. So, I do not want to waste time. So we're gonna get going, and we'll let him jump in when he jumps on. So again, we are previewing WWE's not Survivor Series. Wow, RoadBlock End of the Line pay-per-view. Now, again, brand exclusive pay-per-views. You do not have you don't have a lot of matches on the card. Now, as always, we only go off of the matches that are announced and confirmed. Obviously, some matches could be extended. Some matches could be added, whether it's pre-show or.
Stop talking.
Okay.
I have been here the whole time.
Yeah.
And every time I've tried to talk into the microphone, my microphone, this microphone, the stupid green dots show up. So the problem is not on my end. It's on your end. Your annoying, stupid, dumbass end.
How is it on my end when people can hear me and they can't hear you?
I don't know, but it's your fault because every time I talk into this mic, the green dots are telling me that sound is coming from my side.
Right, right. It's not okay.
So it's on your end somehow. Person controlling the call.
I don't control your sound, Mike. That's your computer. Yeah, and yes,
Yes.
you have sound, but you're not. It's breaking up.
I am, but I'm still blaming you.
Of course you are. You blame me
So,
for everything, whether it's
so,
fair or not. So it's okay.
so,
How can you shush me and tell me to stop when you weren't on the air to talk? Okay, well clearly Mike's in the spotlight with all his um, posturing here.
I'm trying to. It's a wrestling show. Thank God.
We know. We were just about to start that.
You're super late.
We explained why.
You said 9:45 and you were wrong.
I can't control that. That wasn't up to me. That decision was up to the support team that was trying to get us on the air without issue tonight. Yet we still had an issue. So you know what?
You're really loud. I'm lowering you.
Uh,
There you are.
uh,
Good news. My phone's plugged in this time.
awesome.
So, yeah, and it's working.
All right.
Because, I don't know, Apple sucks.
So as I was saying before you jumped on, we can only talk about the matches that we know that are confirmed. Obviously, there's always matches added, whether they're pre-show or added to the main card. So just if you don't hear a match, obviously, if you don't hear a match mentioned that you might have heard rumored or something like that, don't freak out. It's just we only now talk about the matches that we know are on the card. All right, and we don't have a lot of matches, so that saves us on some time. So we're going to go right into it as we preview this RoadBlock End of the Line pay-per-view. The second time we are getting a RoadBlock pay-per-view this year. But nonetheless, all right, so with a match between, we do have a kickoff match. And that kickoff match is between Big Cass and Rusev, which I will start, and I will save us a lot of time and trouble because this is what we like to call a filler mid-card match. Which, okay, they've done a really good job setting up with Enzo and Lana, and it's been amusing and everything. Only problem is you're putting two guys in the ring, which is something that we all fear. Two guys in the ring that cannot really sustain a loss right now. So what's your way around this? Well, if you want to extend the feud, you end on a DQ or a no contest, or you have the heel cheat to win. And I'm suspecting that that's what's going to happen here is that Rusev, maybe with the help of Lana or maybe even by DQ or some sort, is going to win here, but not obviously clean because no way is Big Cass going to get pinned clean here. So I'm suspecting a screw job finish at the very least. I think it'll be cool to see these two guys work against each other. Obviously, they're two of the big guys in WWE as far as stature goes. And it'll be interesting. We'll see if they got chemistry. I mean, obviously, Enzo and Cass are not in the tag picture right now. So, you're giving them something to do. And, Rusev could use something to do. It could benefit both if they do it right. It's got keyword. The key thing is they got to do it right. So I'm picking Rusev here to win by I'm going to use the word nefarious because I like that word today for some reason. Nefarious means on Sunday. Mike, go ahead.
I will honestly say that there cannot be a lot of DQ finishes at this pay-per-view, and the reason will be obvious later. However, that being said, I think it's because it's the pre-show match doesn't count. Isn't that great? So that being said, I'm going to agree with you. I think Rusev, I think Big Cass wins by disqualification here. Rusev will cheat, but he'll remain strong, and Enzo will come out and try to make the save, even though, it was whatever. got humiliated and assaulted, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think Big Cass wins by DQ.
Oh.
But I think Rusev doesn't lose anything in the loss.
And by the way, there used to be this unspoken, well, not theory, but it used to be like almost like a rule in a way that you have these pre-show matches. Usually the face always went over, but they've kind of ended that a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, so I don't think it's nearly that predictable. All right, next up, we have the tag team title match between the now all-time record-breaking New Day tag team champions versus Cesaro and Sheamus. Mike?
Oh, good. I've been talking about Sheamus a lot this week for reasons. Basically because What Culture did a video and they continued to propagate a rumor that Jericho was supposed to win the Royal Rumble that year. Don't you just love how stories on the internet happen? Some internet fans get butthurt. Spoiler alert, people. Sheamus was supposed to win the Royal Rumble the entire time. Chris Jericho is that year was what we called the smoke screen. He was supposed to distract you from the guy they actually wanted to win. Much like the next year with Batista, Roman Reigns was the smoke screen. And much like the year Roman Reigns won, they needed a smoke screen. But then again, I don't even think a gigantic fire could have hid the fact that Roman Reigns was going to win that year. So who knows? But yeah, Sheamus was always supposed to win that Royal Rumble. Always was. He was booked for that Rumble win since I think that SummerSlam?
Wait, yeah, probably even before that.
Probably even before that. Jericho came back in December. He had hinted that he'd come back a few months before. Sheamus was already booked for that win a long time ago, and Dave Meltzer was really butthurt about it. Super butthurt about it. That being said, speaking of things Sheamus is going to win, I feel like they gave the New Day this record. And it's over now. All right. The New Day has the all-time longest tag team title reign. They beat Demolition. Now there's no point for them to have the titles. And you kind of held back Sheamus and Cesaro, among other teams. And Sheamus and Cesaro is getting really interesting right now. Really interesting right now. So now's the time that you kind of pull the trigger on them. You see how they carry it. Especially since they're one of the best parts of Raw right now, and you can't say that about the New Day. So I'm going to say Sheamus and Cesaro are going to kind of take the titles here, and we're going to see how far they can run. Are they going to hold the titles for over 400 days? No. Are they going to carry him into WrestleMania? Maybe. But I think at the end of this, the New Day, and I think you need to see the New Day kind of evolve.
Yeah.
Evolve without the titles and kind of see how their act. And their act will be fine without it. But I think the New Day loses here, and I think it's finally time for Sheamus and Cesaro to take the titles.
You know, I've heard a lot of people in regards to this match say, well, if they have Sheamus and Cesaro win here, what's your WrestleMania match with the tag team titles? And I said, and here's my response to that. Since when do they give a crap about the tag team titles at WrestleMania?
True.
I mean, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but it's the truth. That's, if anything, they throw it together at the last minute and stick it at the front of the card. I mean, it's if it even gets on the card. There's going to be so many matches on the card this year. I don't even know if that gets on the card, tag team championship. So I don't think they're really concerned about that. I don't even think they have anything in mind, unless they want to go with the whole idea of the New Day going in still as champions and having somebody get a rub out of it by beating them at WrestleMania. I mean, but then again, they lost at last year's WrestleMania in a non-title match. So to me, there's not anything there that you know what I mean? You don't have to wait to do that. There's no big rub out of it. Because they didn't really, there's times where they didn't even defend the titles, and there's times they lost in non-title matches. So to me, there's diminished value there, and you don't treat it like some big thing if they get beaten at WrestleMania. You don't treat it like that. So you can do that here at RoadBlock. You can do that here. So I don't see any value in keeping the titles on New Day any longer. You know, it looked like they've been teasing maybe a heel turn, and then sometimes they don't. They can't evolve any further with the titles. We've already seen them go from heel to face and go through different, I won't say trends, but different periods of time where they've kind of altered their gimmick a little bit. We don't need to see that anymore. The only way that they can continue as a team and evolve, like you noted, is to drop the titles here. They got the record. Let's just change it up a little bit. Let's just do this. And I do think we'll do this. I think Sheamus and Cesaro will win. I'm going to be honest with you. If they don't win on Sunday, I don't think New Day is losing till WrestleMania or even after. I don't see them dropping it before Mania if they get through this match, because you don't have any other teams right now built up to even do this. At least Sheamus and Cesaro have had 3 months worth of build up. So you have some. Yeah, and story. So you have some kind of build-up here for them to take the titles. So I'm saying Sheamus and Cesaro, I think it'll be a cool match. You know, hopefully they play off of everything that kind of the New Day's run here. Sometimes they've had, they've done things a little shady to keep the titles. Hopefully they play off that a little bit in the match and tell a story. They're going to have time. There ain't a lot of matches on the card. So I hope that they do that. I'm looking forward to it, but I do think Sheamus and Cesaro will win. All right, next up, we have the Cruiserweight Championship. Triple threat between the champion Rick Swann and Brian Kendrick and TJ Perkins. This one I can talk about fairly quick. I think this is going to be a cool match. And I think this is probably good for the first time on a pay-per-view. You're going to get a good spotlight here. Because you're going to have people care about Rick Swann. He has charisma. He has personality. Kendrick does his job as a heel, and Perkins can be in there and do all the cool spots with them. And I think this is going to be a good showcase for the cruiserweights on a pay-per-view for the first time. It's going to be a really good showcase. It's going to keep people interested. I think it'll work much better than any match they've done on a pay-per-view yet. I'm looking forward to it. I think Swann or Kendrick can win this match. I do not think TJ Perkins will. I think he's in there simply to take the pin. I could see it being Kendrick. I have the feeling Swann will retain, because if you're going to give him the title, you don't have him and drop it this quickly. Although then again, if you're going to have him drop it, you drop it in a triple threat without being pinned. So, I mean, I suppose that is possible. I don't think they will do that though, considering they've already hot-shotted it around enough from Perkins to Kendrick to Swann. It's a cool match. It'll be spot-heavy. I think Swann's going to retain the title. Mike?
Oh, excuse me. Let's see. I agree with you. I think Swann's going to retain here. I think this is going to be a fantastic match, that being said. I think they're going to have time to do what they got to do. They're going to have some time, as long as they are allowed to get their spots off. Allowed to be the high impact, fast moving, flippy shit guys.
Yeah.
These guys will go out and put on a show, especially a guy like Rich Swann, who is phenomenal, and TJ Perkins, who has been vastly underrated but needs a little bit more personality. And Brian Kendrick is having a bit of a career renaissance. So I think these guys can be allowed to steal the show if they're allowed. That being said, I agree with you. I think it's either Swann or Kendrick. I think this is essentially Rich Swann's trial run. So that being said, I don't know how long his run's going to last. But I could see him kind of holding it until at least the Royal Rumble. So I'm going to say Rich Swann to retain here.
Okay, next up is one of the more interesting matches on the card. Sami Zayn versus Braun Strowman. And of course, the question: can Sami Zayn survive at least 10 minutes with Braun Strowman? Mike, go ahead.
All right. This should be an interesting match. Sami Zayn is probably the best, based on his resume in 2016. He has had the best work. He has had some of the best wrestling matches of anybody in the company, if not the best wrestling matches of anybody in the company. Sami Zayn's on fire, and he has finally been allowed to cut a really hot babyface promo against Mick Foley. Sami Zayn's been doing some great work. It's just he's been directionless. All right, finally he got some Braun Strowman. Sami Zayn is not going to pin Braun Strowman. That being said, Sami Zayn is not going to be pinned by Braun Strowman. There is a reason why the 10-minute time limit has been applied to this match, and that's why they're highlighting the 10-minute time limit. It's because we're going to go to a 10-minute draw. And it's fine, because in cases where neither guy can take a win, needs a loss or
Yeah.
it could be really used to build up both guys if used right. It'll make Strowman look like a goddamn monster, because that's what Zayn does. He makes other guys look good. And it'll make Zayn look like the plucky, never give up face that people actually want to root for. And Zayn is a guy that people actually want to root for. So with that being said, we are going to go to a 10-minute draw. And that is going to be the end of the match.
Yeah, this is easy to call. It's a fascinating angle. It's since the Owens feud ended with him, it's been the best thing they've done with Sammy, obviously, because he had nothing going on for the longest time. It's a good thing for Braun Strowman too, because the way that they're booking this, they're making him out to be like this unstoppable force that nobody wants to face, nobody should want to face, and it works for both guys. And obviously, neither one needs a loss, and that's, like you said, that's why they got the 10-minute stipulation here. So yeah, it's going to end in a draw. Sammy's going to prove something here, and then it's going to continue a journey where he has to keep proving himself. It's a good storyline to do, and I like that they didn't go like the Daniel Bryan like ripoff direction with him. They're kind of doing their own thing with him, and I like that. So yeah, it'll be a draw, but it's definitely one of the more interesting matches on the card for sure. The next match is probably going to end up being the main event, but we're going to talk about it right now. It's at the very least going to be the co-main event, but it's probably going to be the main event because they're hyping it. The whole tagline for this pay-per-view is "End of the Line," and they're hyping "End of the Line" in this match, the end of the feud. And it really has been a year-long feud. This whole year has been about this feud, and I guess it makes sense for it to end it, especially if the Universal Championship match ends the way we all think it will. They'll have to end it on something that's got maybe like a more definitive finish, and this match will probably have that. And that match, of course, is the WWE Iron Man match between Women's Champion Sasha Banks and Charlotte. Now, look, these women have had great matches. I have no doubt that this is going to be a great match. I have no doubt about that. And I'm glad that they're ending it the way that this is cool to do. I'm glad that they're ending it this way. They're treating it, they're booking it the way, or they're hyping it the way they should have hyped their Hell in a Cell match. The build-up's been better. If Sasha don't win here, then why bother? See, to me, you can't do this match and hype it the way you are, only to have Charlotte win it back. And then and now I understand they added the clause, well, there's no rematch for whoever wins. For whoever loses. So that's supposed to make it different. I don't buy that. I'm sorry. Just because you threw that out doesn't mean I believe you. So to me, if you don't have Sasha Banks win this match, it's all for naught. It ruins the whole thing. Sasha Banks has got to win. I think she will win. You have to end Charlotte's streak here, and you have to end Hot Potato with the title here if you want to do anything else with it. So I expect a really good match, storytelling, good spots. It should be a lot of fun. And I expect it to be a lot better than their Hell in a Cell match. So, yeah, Sasha Banks for the win here. Mike?
You're not wrong in anything about this. Look, this is probably going to be the main event. 30 minutes. An Iron Man match or Iron Woman match. I'm surprised they're still going with the Iron Man match moniker. But 30 minutes Iron Woman match. Charlotte versus Sasha Banks. And this way, Charlotte can pin Sasha Banks all she wants. As long as Sasha gets more wins, we don't have to revisit this match again.
Yeah.
So, and you know what? Because we've had this match a lot. We've had this match a lot. So it's time we kind of cut the cord here. Sasha has to win here. And we don't have to talk about this feud again. So I agree with you. This match is going to main event. I agree. Sasha Banks is going to win. Otherwise, again, like you said, what the hell is the point? Sasha's not really going to get her rematch. Really? Really? Charlotte is going to lose. Sasha's going to win, and we're going to move forward from here.
Finally. All right. Next match, again, will either be the co-main event or will be, it'll have a good position. Seth Rollins versus Chris Jericho. Mike?
Oh, this match. I'm heartbroken. 2016 has taken a lot of good people and a lot of good things away. And one of those things that it giveth and it taketh away was the incredible angle of friendship between Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. They had a hell of a run, didn't they?
Oh, yeah.
And hopefully it's not over yet. Hopefully it's a temporary bump in the road. This match will be very good. Jericho's doing some excellent work, and Rollins is Rollins. Seth is going to win here because this one's an easy prediction. There's a slight chance they may go Jericho, just to kind of throw a little like, well, maybe Jericho's onto something here. You know, maybe to reward him for all he's done. But let's be clear here. Seth Rollins is going to win here. He's going to retain. He's going to win. Why not? Jericho's he's here to put people over at this point in time, despite doing the best work of his career so far. But Seth is going to win here. He's going to go into the Royal Rumble, chasing the title as usual. So here we go. Rollins to win.
Yeah, Rollins has to win here. First of all, not only for his own credit, because he hasn't won. I mean, other than on Raw and a pay-per-view since what? I think since he got back. Well, since he won the title right after he got back from Reigns and got cashed in on. So you have to have him win at some point on a pay-per-view just to kind of keep him going. But also, it sets them up to have Jericho kind of go on his own little journey here, where it's like, okay, Rollins won. And then he sees Kevin Owens. I mean, it plays everything off better if Jericho loses here. So that's what I think is going to happen. I other than the Iron Woman match, I think this match could definitely steal the show because these two I think are going to work a hell of a match. It should speak for itself anyway. But it's going to be a good match. But Rollins is this is one of the more a lot of this card's predictable, to be honest. But this is if it's going to be the most predictable result is probably this one. Rollins to win, for sure. In the interest of giving Mike his favorite, I'm going to defer to him on the last match. It is my turn, but I'm going to defer to him and let him start the Universal Championship match between the champion, Kevin Owens, and Roman Reigns. Mike.
I want no more than to tell you that Kevin Owens is going to 100% pin Roman Reigns and retain the Universal title. I want nothing more than to tell everybody that. Unfortunately,
yeah,
I can't do it. Kevin Owens is going to retain via disqualification. This is why you can't have too many DQ finishes tonight, because in one of the main events, There's going to be a DQ finish. There's going to be shenanigans because Kevin Owens is not losing the Universal title to Roman Reigns. And Roman Reigns isn't losing. There's the problem. If they booked Roman Reigns like they're booking John Cena, yeah, they're going to go out and have a war. But when it comes time to do the honors, Roman Reigns is going to be on the mat laying down, putting the champion over. They're not ready to do that yet with Roman.
Right.
And unfortunately, it's hurting him. There are many things that is hurting Roman Reigns, and this is one of them. Because one of the things that's kind of bringing people back around to John Cena is the fact that John Cena is losing. He's not just winning all the time. He put over AJ Styles 3 times this year. And one of those was clean. Like, super clean.
Yeah.
Like, John Cena, like, he's interesting again because he's doing the honors. It's like so many people, I've beaten so many people, it's time for me to return the favor. I'm not going to be around the whole time. Roman Reigns has got a lot of years left in him, but it helps him out if people see that he's human. Even Hulk Hogan lost matches once in a while. Even Stone Cold had to do the honors here and there. Roman Reigns needs to take some pins. There's no better opportunity than here at RoadBlock because it's a B pay-per-view. You can easily write it off. He can easily put over Kevin Owens and we could be moving on with life. But we're not. Kevin Owens will retain the title because there's more money. Apparently, there is more money in Kevin Owens going into Mania and beyond with the title. There's no need for Roman to do it. Roman's program is probably it's not near the Universal title, but Roman's program is big and brawny. But Owens' program is a little bit beyond that. And he needs the Universal title. And unfortunately, he can't get the clean win here. So Kevin Owens will retain the title. He won't even win. He's probably going to lose by DQ. Or Jericho's going to attack Owens or whatever. Yeah. That could possibly be the thing. Jericho's finally going to come out and attack Owens and cost Roman Reigns. That could happen, but Kevin Owens, I'm going to say, and I'm nervous about saying this because who knows? Kevin Owens to retain the title via disqualification.
I have seen a lot of people over the last maybe 2 days or so wondering if maybe they'll flip the title to Roman just to call him a double champion and have him drop it right back to Owens and then have somebody screw him over at Royal Rumble. And, just because that way they can get the distinction on Roman Reigns. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I will admit to you that possibility has even crossed my mind. The only thing I feel like I know at this point is that I think Owens is going to go into Mania as champion. Does that mean that he won't drop it quickly? And no, I'm not spoiling anything. I'm just saying that there's that possibility does exist. I think the only way I see Owens losing that title is in a quick kind of turn like that, where it's like, oh, Roman wins that roadblock and then drops it maybe sometime in the next 2 weeks. And then, you know what I'm saying? I could see that possibility.
I agree. I don't mean to quickly interrupt. I can see the possibility too, and it's terrifying.
Yeah.
But what they don't understand is that will do irreparable damage to Roman Reigns.
Oh, that's never stopped them before.
It's never stopped. Like with Seth Rollins, you can kind of make it work. With Roman Reigns, what's it going to do?
But
people are just going to boo harder.
Right. And here's the thing, okay? I don't think it really services the title which they're trying to build. His title got off to a rough start. You crowned the first champion, and he got hurt. and you had to, crown a new champion. And they haven't really given this title the attention it deserves because they went all in on Sasha and Charlotte at times, and then they had Survivor Series and the brand split and everything else. It's time to make this title have value. And the only way to do that is if you don't hot shot it around. And if you just hot shot it to Roman and right back to Kevin Owens and have him drop it again, that doesn't work. You can't be having people drop titles left and right. You can't be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You have to add value to it. And I think there's a lot of value in having Owens hold this thing, at least into Mania, at least.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also, where's the storyline here if Roman Reigns wins? Oh, big deal. Kevin Owens wants a rematch. You know what I mean? Where's the story? If Roman Reigns loses, then everybody Rollins gets involved, Jericho's that you get the fatal four-way. You can kind of keep you doing this thing. Keep everybody in the same. It keeps the story going until they can get everybody in line for their Mania matches. And I highly doubt that Vince is going to want to crown Roman Reigns at a B-level pay-per-view that can barely fill seats. I highly doubt that. Remember, this is what Phil. Where were they at Raw on Monday? Was it Pittsburgh or Philly?
Pittsburgh.
Okay, they're in Philly. I don't think they're going to do this to Roman Reigns. They've done it before. I don't think they're going to do it. I don't. So I think Owens is going to retain here. Not clean. Jericho will probably come out. They'll have a spot. It'll be a good match because these two have had great chemistry. Jericho will come out and there'll be a scene or whatever. Maybe he attacks Owens. Maybe I don't know who he'll attack, but he'll attack somebody. Rollins will come out, and you'll have a brawl thing. Owens will get away, and then next night on Raw, they'll announce like a fatal four-way or something. That's what's going to happen. But Owens, I expect to retain for sure, unless there's a quick little hot shot around kind of deal, which I never put past Vince. But all right, so we got through all the matches, which I expected to do. It's a small card. Yep. And then you have, wait a minute. They've been doing this whole thing with having a different guest host on the a kickoff show now. I guess WWE mega fan Sam Roberts will be on the kickoff panel with Booker T and Renee Young. So if you're interested in that, there you go. So I point that out. With that, we'll do a couple questions and comments. I'm going to go to one of these. I'm going to do one of these first because this one is. Most of our questions were about this because there's a big WWE news day today. I don't know if Mike knows about this, but did you hear about the UK tournament?
Yes.
Okay. Let me ask this question then. What are your guys' thoughts on the WWE's big announcement today of a UK tournament and a UK championship? And do you think this is leading to WWE doing more tournaments and championships like this in different territories and essentially bringing back the territory days?
It's hard to say because I don't fully understand why they're going this route either. It's a very curious move. With the cruiserweight division, there was something to find. We're doing a whole division, of guys. And, with this division of guys, they're going to be featured on Monday Night Raw every week, and they're going to have their own show, and they're going to be allowed to get over on their own. That makes sense. The title's purple. That's great. As for this, it's like, I don't understand. What are they doing? All right, so they're going to put the show on. They're going to run a two-night tournament, whatever. They're going to have the first WWE United Kingdom champion. Okay. And then what?
All right.
Are we going to have an Asian champion? Are we going to have an Australian champion? Or we already have a United States champion, and we're going to boo the shit out of them. We're going to have a South American champion. Pat Patterson, everybody. Are we going to have a Mexican champion? Well, I mean, there was one, but his destiny was to leave. Wink. That was Del Rio reference
I know.
because I don't know. You don't react. It's weird. So
I guess.
it took you a while, but that's okay. You got there. Is there going to be a Canadian champion? I mean, there already is one. He rules the universe. Are we going to have the WWE Antarctic Championship?
Hmm.
I don't know. Paul the Penguin
Hmm.
versus Benny the Polar Bear for the WWE Antarctic Championship. I don't honestly. I just don't understand where they're going from here. They're going to have a weekly TV show. That's great. Are they going to be featured on any of the main shows? Probably not. I'm guessing this is a UK exclusive title. Is the champion going to be going around to various uh, British and Irish and Scottish promotions defending the title? How does that work? I'm not sure. I just don't know. Are they going to go back to the territory days? It's hard to say.
Toys R Us.
Is Brian going to listen to an ad about Toys R Us?
Sorry,
Absolutely.
that kid. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Yes. Where a kid can be a kid, right, Brian? All right.
Sure.
So I don't know what they're going to do. I'm as confused as anybody else. But the one move I did really like is the fact that they brought in Nigel McGuinness
Yeah.
to be the color guy. I think that was an inspired move. That was a very inspired move. The guy is really, 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 really good. He was a fantastic wrestler. He's been great in a non-wrestling capacity. He can even help them filmmaking behind the camera.
Mhm.
He's a definite improvement over Kevin Dunn, that Bucky Beaver motherfucker.
Oh, geez.
So Nigel McGuinness is a good choice. Very good choice.
Yeah.
And I'm sure this had no impact. This decision had no influence whatsoever on a couple of Canadian guys on Raw and maybe a redneck on SmackDown.
Mm.
I'm sure it had no decision from these guys at all.
Yeah, we'll talk later. Look, I kind of see what this fan, part of his question was. We didn't just bring back territories. One of the things I think is evident here is, and there was an interview with Triple H in Newsweek where he said it's not a science yet. They don't know how it's all going to work. They're hoping to do like a weekly show in the UK and have it defended in the UK. And he mentioned that all the participants can still work for the promotions that they might be working with still. So I mean, there's that. I guess part of this is this. Obviously they're looking for more programming on the network, and this is part of it. But I also think too that there's money in this. You know, they can have their little like territories, and they can do these shows. And there's money in it, and as opposed to the model of just relying on broadcast rights and pay-per-view numbers and stuff. You know, that game is changing now, and they need to find other revenue sources. And to do this is going to add more content to the network and enhance their financial revenue. So it's a cool idea. You know, the first thing everybody asks is, well, why don't that bring back the European title? Well, I think it's not about that. It's about they just want something in the UK, and they're trying this new kind of model out and seeing how it works out. But what you mentioned about Nigel is the first thing I thought of when I read this. First of all, when I saw Triple H posting about landing in London, I'm like, what the hell is going on? Because they kept this pretty close to the vest. But you know, seeing Nigel get hired in that, especially when, I don't know if you're aware of this, Mike, but that Nigel was close to coming to WWE in 2009.
Yeah, he failed a test.
Yeah. So, you know, to have him I know he can't wrestle, but to have him finally involved with WWE is actually really cool. So
it's a culmination of a long journey that had many twists and turns. So if anything else, getting him in the WWE umbrella is a fantastic move. And it's an even better move if you replace it with somebody like Byron Saxton, David Otunga.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking that same thing. There's a lot of things they can have him do, Nigel McGuinness.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, he could even, if you ever needed a GM on SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just saying.
He did a great job as the general manager figure of Ring of Honor.
Yeah, he did. So I mean, there's a lot of options for McGinnis to can do. So, um, but I mean, that was the first thing I looked at. I go, wow, this is pretty cool. That Nigel McGinnis is going to be in WWE. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's a cool idea. We'll see how it evolves. They got this. I still assume they're doing a women's tournament, so they got some things coming up. It was announced today that Brock Lesnar. I knew we were gonna get this question. This was the second most asked question in our. um, it was announced today that Brock Lesnar will be suspended 1 year, and will get a $250,000 fine for failing for his wellness test violation. Upon the culmination of this penalty, do you think Brock Lesnar will return to the UFC?
No. No, his brand is as a UFC fighter is probably irreparably damaged.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's the thing. Okay, first of all, I've seen people go, "Well, $250,000 is nothing for Brock." $250,000 is something to Brock Lesnar. Okay, yeah, he'll make it back, but that is substantial money. Let's not kid ourselves. Yeah, you're right. Problem is his branding. He had a brand when he went back the last time. That brand has been damaged. His brand in WWE still has value because it's WWE and it's scripted and people take it a little differently. But in UFC, his brand is vastly damaged. And plus, a lot of guys, there's going to be a lot of guys that won't even want to fight him if he goes to UFC. So, yeah, I mean, you have a better chance of seeing CM Punk than Brock Lesnar. So, you know, um, let's see here. WWE recently released their match of the years for 2016. If you, what were your guys' matches of the year?
WWE. Go ahead, Brian. What's your match of the year?
Oh goodness gracious! You had to give me the one first. I know Zayn Nakamura is the best one. That one, I think that's the match of the year for sure. Let's see. I mean, the Raw match in August where Owens won the title. I thought that was a good match. I'm trying. There's a match that happened this fall that I thought was really, really. I did like the first, not the first, the last Sasha Charlotte match on Raw. I thought that was really good. Miz Dolph Ziggler at No Mercy was good. I liked the first Styles Roman match. I thought that was really good. I'm blanking. There's a couple cruiserweight matches that I thought were really good. I'm blanking on them though. The classic ones, not on Raw.
Coda and
Coda
TJ?
was one of them. Yeah, that one was one of them. But I'm trying to think of the other one.
Cedric versus Ibushi.
It probably was, but I can't remember. It probably was because I remember we watched them back to back, and I was like, "Oh my god, that was freaking great."
There's also TJ versus Swan.
That was
TJ,
good.
That was
That
great.
was good. Yeah. There's Owens versus Zayn. I'm trying to think of which one I like more. I mean, the Battleground one was amazing, but I think they had a better one early in the year at some point. I could be wrong. Payback, yeah, that one was the better one. I mean, those are just a few. I mean, I could go on and on. Mike?
Oh, geez. In terms of just WWE matches, I will say this. There's been quite a few really, really good ones.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. Nakamura versus Sami Zayn was probably, I want to say that one was the best, but if you watch it back, they don't do an awful lot. But what they do in that match is intense, and it's amplified by the crowd, which are two things that you need the whole time. So Nakamura versus Zayn is probably the big one. Nakamura versus Joe. That one was huge too. I don't remember which one was the one. It was which one was it? It was the one in Brooklyn, right, where Nakamura wins the title.
Yeah.
I think that one was the best of their matches. So Nakamura versus Joe, Revival versus DIY, 2 out of 3 falls. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant tag match. It was easily the best tag team match of the year. I will say Cena versus Styles 3 was a fantastic match. The Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn pay-per-view matches this year were nothing short but classics. The Battleground match had the better ending, but the Payback match was the better match. So I will go with that. The Fatal 4-Way for the Universal title was very good, better than it had any right of being, and the finish was just intense and incredible. So there's Sasha versus Charlotte versus Becky at Mania was a fantastic match. It really was. And a couple of the Sasha Charlotte matches were really, really pretty good, especially that last Raw match they had. That one was fantastic. It was better than their Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah, I think their Hell in a Cell match was the worst one.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. Also, you kind of got to give some credit to Triple H versus Dean Ambrose.
Yes.
Triple H versus Dean Ambrose early on in the year, that was easily Triple H's best match of the year so far.
I'm sure he'd agree.
I'm sure he would agree too. Triple H versus Dean Ambrose was a fantastic match at the first RoadBlock this year. I'm pretty sure I just gave you a very, very nice selection of great matches from the year. Who was the Undertaker match this year?
Shane.
Nah, it wasn't that great.
I'm kind of surprised they didn't put it on the list just because of the jump.
It had a great moment, but it wasn't a good match.
Yeah, no, it wasn't very good at all.
It goes to show you I forgot who it was. It was
Yeah,
a damn match.
we all wanted to forget that match.
Well, so wrestling, WWE wrestling especially, it's a very, very good moments this year. Very,
Yeah.
very. Oh, Asuka versus Bayley.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Dallas. Asuka versus Bayley in Dallas was a very good women's match. And that was very underrated, very good atmosphere. Asuka versus Bayley 2 was also really good, and Asuka versus Mickie James was really good. So, excuse me, you've had some great matches this year.
Oh yeah. This is gonna be our last question, and it's a 2-prong one, and it's 2 different topics. So it's interesting. This person just wanted to ask 2 questions. WWE is apparently interested in signing current TNA wrestling star Eli Drake, who worked with them previously in developmental as Slate Rando. What would you think of this signing, and what do you think WWE would do with him? And secondly, apparently WWE is not doing the Slammies this year. Do you think do you think this is a bad decision or not?
All right, let me start with the easy one. Yes, it's a bad decision not to do the Slammies. I feel like they're going to change their mind on that very soon, even though they're not going to have a lot of time to get it done.
Right.
But I feel like it's a bad decision. They should do the Slammies. If nothing else, at least it's interesting.
Yeah.
Number 2, they didn't do anything with Eli Drake in his first time around with the company. They kind of released him. Didn't make anything. They didn't make any fanfare. And then he went on the independent scene, and then he went to TNA and found this Eli Drake character that was very interesting and very entertaining, from what I understand. I don't watch TNA. I don't care. But I know Eli Drake is consistently one of the highlights of the show. He's got a brash attitude, runs his mouth, has good matches. It's a very, very workable formula in professional wrestling.
Yeah.
And he's very good at it. And he's one of the highlights of TNA, even though he hasn't gotten pushed to the extent of Bobby Lashley. So WWE's interested in the guy. Well, there definitely are standards where you do nothing in your first time around with a company. You go out, you build the brand and a character, and they bring you back, and you find greater success. There are
Yeah.
examples. The most recent one was actually Tommaso Ciampa, of all people. He was originally a manager in FCW and even OVW. He was a manager. They didn't see that guy as anything special. His main roster highlight is that he was a lawyer in the Undertaker segment, and he got to eat a tombstone. That was his highlight, going back to the indie scenes, honing his craft, finding the Tommaso Ciampa character, and just kind of working that. And then he comes back, and now is one half of the DIY. He's one half of the DIY. He's one half of the WWE, the NXT Tag Champions, and he's been having good matches with everybody all year.
Right.
So there's basis for it. So if Eli Drake's interested in coming back to WWE, it would be worth entertaining, especially if he ends up in NXT.
Yeah. The TNA one, I'll just say this. I'm not really familiar with him, but them being interested in anybody that does good work on TNA doesn't surprise me, because if you can do good work on TNA, then you're probably going to do even better work in WWE. So, not surprising. The Swammy thing, I think they're going to, I agree with you. I think this is something that's happened before, where you hear they're not going to do it, and then all of a sudden decide to do it. It's not the first time, for sure. But let me say this. I understand they might not want to do it the same way. Like, they might not want to do it like, I don't know if they want to have like Raw and SmackDown all on, together. Unless they do like a network special. Maybe they'll do it as a network special or something, something like that. I think it's a cool way to kind of enhance stories and stuff. So I hope they do it. But a lot of you asked us some generic things like who would be your superstar of the year, feud of the year, and stuff like that. We're not going to, we'll leave those, because here's what the thing is, because a lot of you asked that. We usually do our last show of the year. We usually do like a little segment called Year in Review, where we kind of talk about what we thought were our best in movies, our personal, not like awards or anything like that, but like what we thought was the best in movies or TV or wrestling and that. So we'll leave those kind of replies for that particular show when we do that, which will be in probably the last primetime show of the year, 2 weeks from tonight. So we'll leave that. We'll reply to those questions when we get to that point. So stay tuned on answers to that, like match of the year, superstar of the year, that kind of stuff. So that's why we're not going to answer those questions here tonight. Before we wind down, I was going to mention this at the top, but I figured Mike would want to speak about this too, because it's a sad story, and it's something that we all probably have a lot of thoughts on. And so, it's been a rough year. We've obviously lost a tremendous amount of people. And we lost another great person today in Craig Sager, who passed away today at the age of 65. Obviously, he was battling cancer. Earlier this year, he called his first finals game, which surprised everybody. Then again, if you remember, he works for TNT and not ESPN. But he called his first finals game, which everybody was happy about, that he finally got the chance to do this. And also, he won the Perseverance Award at the ESPYs, and it was a great speech, a great speech. And again, he was battling cancer. Everybody knew that it was not. I mean, he was struggling. We all knew that. Obviously, he was known for his colorful and distinctive suits. He had a 40-year career, acute myeloid leukemia that was diagnosed with in 2014. And he was admitted. He's been in and out of the hospital. He had pneumonia. He's had a lot of things. He was admitted back into the hospital late November. So it's again, this is. If you watch the NBA, you know who Craig Sager is. He's been covering the NCAA tournament since Turner got a hold of it. It's just been so many great highlights, and of his career, and people forget even before he got with the NBA, he covered more than just the NBA. I just want to point this out. Um, it really kind of burst on the scene when he was in his early 20s. He interviewed Hank Aaron on his way to home plate right before Hank hit his 715th home run to break Babe Ruth's record. So I don't know, a lot of people didn't realize that, but he also worked for CNN. He handled the network's first live remote report from the 1980 MLB playoffs. He co-anchored Sports Tonight for CNN and College Football Scoreboard in the 1980s. He covered college football, NFL, World Series, Goodwill Games, Pan Am Games, World Cup, soccer, golf, tennis, Winter and Summer Olympics. Obviously, he's most known for the NBA, though. And obviously, that's where most people knew of him. He's survived by his wife, who they have 2 children together, Riley and Ryan, and then Sager has 3 other children from a previous marriage as well. So we obviously want to extend our condolences and thoughts and prayers to the Sager family, his family, friends, his loved ones. May he rest in peace. A great man, a great personality, and just a great human being. And he really inspired a lot of people. And he was able to. I'll give credit to TNT and ESPN for allowing him to keep doing what he was doing. For him to give him the call the NBA game, the finals game. I'm grateful to him for doing that, because you knew it meant a lot to him. So, Mike, I'm sure you have something to say. So go ahead.
Oh my God, I saw this earlier. I honestly couldn't believe it, because he was one of the few guys I thought he could beat it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he could beat it, and for a while it was in remission, and it just came back with a vengeance. And again, 2016 sucks. It really, really, really sucks. And it's terrible. It really is. In terms of sports broadcasting, especially being the sideline reporter, nobody was bigger than Craig Sager.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody was bigger than Craig Sager. He was the linchpin at Turner. He was one of their linchpin voices for their NBA coverage. Again, you mentioned he was at CNN. He covered some of the greatest events in sports. He covered NBA finals, MLB finals. He covered the one NBA final, thankfully. He covered the MLB final, the World Series, excuse me. He's covered the Pan Am Games, the Olympics. He's covered God knows how many NCAA finals.
Mm-hmm.
On a March Madness, his Final Fours. Craig Sager, and you know what? He always knew the right questions to ask.
Yeah.
He always knew how to get the most out of the coaches and the players. He always knew, and all the coaches and the players always felt natural and easygoing. I mean, God, Greg Popovich, of all people.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was the one sideline reporter he felt, he was totally natural with.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. This one was rough.
Mm-hmm.
This was very rough. Yeah, I mean, you're going to mention the suits because, good Lord. Some of they're outlandish and god-awful all at the same time. Some are great, some are terrible. But you know what? He's eternally memorable. And this one's going to be rough. Another rough one in 2016. What are the odds? They were just saying you just had to take Alan Thicke out on the way out. 2016, you're a bastard. Like, now you're taking Craig Sager too? Fuck you, 2016. Fuck you. But he will be missed greatly. So yes, our condolences go out to his family, his wife, his children, his friends, his colleagues. Man, this one was rough.
Yeah. I mean, we all knew he was sick, but it doesn't make it any easier at all. So I just wanted to mention, obviously we had to mention that because his battle was so was again a source of inspiration for a lot of people. He inspired a lot of people. His speech at the ESPYs was just amazing, and he will definitely be missed. And Mike, as well as I do, that Turner family is very close. So
Mm-hmm.
so that they are just probably and I can't even imagine. So Craig Sagan may rest in peace, and his thoughts and condolences to his family. It's just 2016. All right. We're gonna wind down, not on the best note, but we are. As always, the show is over. Does not mean you have to stop interacting, contributing to the show. Continue to have your voice heard. Give us your opinions, reactions, or comments on things we talked about, things we said, questions about the show, scheduling the show, topic ideas, or breaking news items, sports, entertainment, wrestling want us to cover. We encourage you to continue sending your feedback regarding the show and all aspects of it. We're really interested in that, so make sure you keep doing that. And these things you do by email, Facebook, and Twitter. You can email us at itspotlight411@gmail.com. You can also follow us and tweet us at itspotlight411. Please remember to use the hashtag ITSpotlight411 for anything you tweet regarding our show. You can also find us on Facebook. Just search for In the Spotlight 411 on Facebook and make sure you like our page upon finding it. We encourage you to follow us on Facebook and Twitter to get the latest information about our show, especially as it relates to scheduling. Obviously, scheduling can change at a moment's notice. So the best way to get late-breaking information about our show is to follow us on social media, Facebook and Twitter. And, of course, we post other random things on our social media as well. So make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter. If you'd like to keep up with our show and look back at classic episodes, you have two ways in which to do that. You can either stream us here on Google Plus and YouTube by searching for us with our title In the Spotlight 411, and you'll have access to all of our episodes from October 2015 all the way into tonight's episode. So all of our more recent episodes are available for you to stream anytime you want here on Google Plus and YouTube. Just search for In the Spotlight 411, and you'll have access to those episodes. So if you're like streaming, then that's just for you. And particularly if you're interested in more of our recent episodes. If you're interested in older episodes of our show, maybe prefer to listen to us and not see us, then if that's the case, then head over to our main host sites, Podbean and iTunes, and search for In the Spotlight 411 on both those sites. When you do that, you'll have access to not only our recent episodes, but every episode we've done over the last 6 years we've been doing this show. So everything from October 2010 all the way up into tonight's episode. All episodes are in order from the most recent date to the oldest. Everything from Blog Talk Radio, Talk Shoe, and, of course, all of our Google Plus and YouTube episodes transferred into audio format for your convenience. All those episodes available for you. You like to listen to us on the go, or, again, maybe you're a longtime fan, wants to look back at older episodes, or a new fan that wants to look at older episodes for the first time, or even just catch up on recent episodes. Whatever the case may be, you can do all that on Podbean and iTunes and listen to us anytime you want. To search for In the Spotlight 411 on both those sites. So Google Plus, YouTube, Podbean, iTunes, all ways to keep up with the show. Again, Google Plus, YouTube, Podbean, iTunes, all ways to keep up with the show and catch up on episodes and look back at episodes. Just search for In the Spotlight 411 on all those sites. Again, search for In the Spotlight 411 on all those sites. I'd like to thank Mike for being here tonight. Thank you, Mike.
Bad for bad.
I'd like to thank myself for another great show, pat myself on the back, and thank all of you for your continued support and contributions to the show. Thank you so much for watching. To those that will be watching or listening to this later, thank you to you as well. That is it for tonight. Again, tomorrow, the In the Spotlight Football Blitz, currently scheduled for 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. Again, that could be a little later, but right now that is the current time. So that is our next show, In the Spotlight Football Blitz, tomorrow, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll look back at last week in the NFL, look ahead to this week in the NFL, talk about tonight's Thursday night football game between the Seahawks and the Rams, do a little Heisman talk, a little college football, all that on tomorrow's show. Again, next week, 2 shows. One on Tuesday, our Tuesday night primetime show, 9 o'clock from Eastern Time here on YouTube Live. We'll cover everything from sports that we have to cover outside of football, wrestling, entertainment, all that on Tuesday. And again, next Wednesday, we'll have our In the Spotlight Football Blitz. That's the schedule for next week. But first, we have the In the Spotlight Football Blitz tomorrow, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That is our next show. Until then, have a good night, everybody. Stay safe. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.